Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We have returned. Your favorite sports show, Roundtable Discussion. My name is Byron Dixon, joined alongside my guy Darian Coleman. Darian, it's great to be back.
Always good to talk some sports with you.
Thank you for that. On today's show, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a while since we last left you. Kobe's retiring. Who's going to win the NFC East? And what do you think about the college football playoff? So, like I just said, Darian, the four teams have been selected for the college football playoff. First of all, do you think the committee got it right?
I think the committee did get it right. I think everybody who didn't get in some way eliminated themselves. The only team I would have liked to see in there to mix things up a little bit was Stanford. They got hot late, and they won a big game in Notre Dame, and then they came back and kind of had that way with USC. So I would have liked to see what Stanford could have done. But the four teams that got in definitely deserve to be there. What do you think?
You talked about Stanford real quick. Shout out Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he put up phenomenal numbers. Could possibly, I think Derrick Henry will win the Heisman, but he deserves some serious consideration.
Yes, he does.
I like what the committee did. I think they got it right. Think about Michigan State not only getting in, but leapfrogging to the number 3 spot.
Because of that win. The magnitude of that win puts them in the right
place. Which was a great game, by the way, defensive struggle.
Yes,
and they did beat Ohio State, which was a good
at
one,
Ohio State.
Without Connor Cook. So you look at that, they get to go to play, Roll Tide. Then you have Deshaun Watson, who I think has been the best quarterback all year, up against Baker Mayfield, who's been Johnny Manziel-esque. And you know I love me some Johnny.
Yeah, you do.
So I like what he's done with Bob Stoops, who doesn't have the greatest history in big games. But looking at the first matchup, Michigan State, Alabama, two defensive-oriented teams, Nick Saban and that squad. Who do you like in this matchup?
Let me preface my comments by stating that I love all things Michigan State. I love Tom Izzo and the basketball program. I love what their football program has been over the last few years. But I can't go against Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think they're just too much defensively. I think their offense is not, it's not going to strike fear in anybody, but they will overpower you. And as you said, they have the Heisman front runner right now running the football for them.
I definitely think in that matchup, the defenses cancel each other out. I think it comes down to the play of the quarterback. And if I ask you to name Alabama's quarterback, could you?
No.
That's exactly why I think Michigan State has the slight edge because of Connor Cook's ability to show why he's a first-round project potentially in the next draft.
I think if he comes back, fully healthy and can play accordingly, maybe. But I think Nick Saban's defense is a little bit better than Michigan State's defense.
Granted, with 3 weeks to prepare, you got to say Nick Saban has the edge. But the secondary of Alabama hasn't been the strongest for them.
No, it hasn't. But their front seven is very strong. And, you think Connor's going to come out and have a big day. I don't think the Michigan State weapons are going to be enough to overpower what Alabama's capable of doing, and especially the way Derrick Henry's running the football. I know Michigan State's strong, but, man, they really run the ball at Alabama.
They did. They were running 45, 50 times. These are your grandfather's Crimson Tide Alabama teams.
They really just muscle up and they push you around, and they're exactly what you think of when you think of Alabama football.
So you got Alabama on record?
Yes, I do.
I'm going with Michigan State, so that will set up two different things. But let's get to the next game. I think will be a shootout. Clemson, and we know they produce offensive weapons all the time against Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield, as I mentioned. Who are you looking for in this matchup?
I like to see what Clemson would do. As you said, Deshaun Watson has been the best quarterback in college football. He's probably, if I had to pick a second guy for the Heisman, it would be Deshaun Watson. They're undefeated. They're the number 1 team in the country. They don't really have many signature wins because of the ACC, but beating Notre Dame was a big step for them and finishing the season unbeaten. So I think that is the team that will win. As you said, Bob Stoops struggles in big games. Oklahoma, they had that ugly loss to Texas early in the year. But, I mean, they've come back and responded well. I just don't think they'll respond well against Clemson in that game.
I think it'll be a shootout, and I'm going to take Mayfield over Watson, and I love Deshaun Watson. I think it reminds a little bit of Cam Newton a little bit in him. Not as big, but, can move with the ball, doesn't run as much. But I like Baker Mayfield and Bob Stoops just to get it done in a big game.
Well, that will be the first time. I feel like Bob Stoops is the Marvin Lewis of college football. Every time a big game comes, if something happens, it just never goes his way. I think the trend continues. Until I see Oklahoma win a big game, I can't pick them. And I can't go against what I've seen from what has been, in my mind, the best team in college football this season.
Let's not forget, last year, the number 4 seed, Ohio State, snuck in. They won it. We got a lot of heat on the channel. We heard you, Ohio State fans. You're not in it this year. Great season, by the way. Ezekiel Elliott, first-round pick. But I like Oklahoma, and I think this could be another year where you see a team that gets in at the right time with the quarterback play, like we saw with Cardale Jones, can win this national championship.
I think Ohio State was much more loaded on both sides of the football.
I agree.
But, just out of curiosity, if you had to pick a fifth team, if there was one, would you pick Stanford or Ohio State?
That's tough. I would maybe say Stanford just because of their resume.
Great wins they have on their resume.
Exactly.
But Ohio State, I just think that one loss was just at the wrong time. Had they lost to Michigan State in late August, early September, they would probably still be in the 14 playoff. But, they picked the wrong time to not get a home win. And, Ezekiel Elliott obviously was not pleased. But enough about Ohio State. Back to the game at hand. I think Clemson will, get the job done. So I think in my mind it'll be Clemson and Alabama for a national title.
So who takes it in your opinion?
I would have to go with Alabama. I know they keep getting close and they've won so many over the last few years. I think this will be the first time in Nick Saban's tenure that they would have gone 3 straight years without a national title. So I don't see that happening. I think Alabama's just too strong, and I think they'll just muscle up and overpower everybody to a national title.
I'm going Oklahoma. I know it might not be the strongest pick, but actually they have the odds saying they have a good shot to win. I just think Baker Mayfield, the story of this guy, walk on at Oklahoma after transferring, being one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, should get some Heisman consideration, but I think they'll take it.
So my one question is, do you trust Oklahoma and their Big 12 defense?
I don't know if I trust the defense, but I think I have to trust enough to say they can get one key stop and let Mayfield in the offense. And don't forget the running back situation. They have a very good running back.
They do.
And they can run the ball as well, so they're not just drop back throw 50 times.
Single game rushing record holder. But I think that defense is a little too suspect to stop Deshaun Watson enough times to beat Clemson. And I like what Clemson's done all year, and I think they play with a chip on their shoulder because they really came out of nowhere this year. Nobody saw this from that Clemson team. Everybody thought the ACC was Florida State's to lose again. And speaking of running back, Florida State has a great one too.
Yes, they do.
But Clemson overcame all of the odds, and they haven't lost a game. I feel like they're playing with a swagger right now, confidence that just will have them overpower Oklahoma because, as we both mentioned, Oklahoma's not really a big game type program.
There's a first for everything. But real quick, do you see any college football playoff expansion in the future?
I do think they'll expand it at least to 6 teams because I think every year there's a close case that somebody gets left out. You know what I wouldn't have minded seeing? I wouldn't have minded the BCS deciding what 4 teams get in the playoffs. Keeping the BCS because that computer, you can't say it's favoring one way or another with human emotion or how humans feel about what something is. If they would have used the computers to compile the 4 teams for the playoffs, I think that would have been an okay fit. Because I like the BCS, I just don't think a computer should decide who plays for a title. I think you should still have a playoff, but just use those computers to find out who should play in the playoffs.
I definitely like to say maybe get to 8 teams, but that's a little bit down the line. But right now, you're going Roll Tide over Clemson.
Roll Tide.
I'm going Oklahoma over Michigan State. It'll be great games no matter what. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then the 11th in the stadiums they chose. So
absolutely.
Definitely looking forward to it. Those are our picks. What are yours? Let us know. We'll be right back on Roundtable Discussion.